You're listening to The Real Fan Review with Hav, Sanj, Al, and B.
What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. Today with me, we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
We got my boy, Sanj.
Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, no beat tonight. He'll be missed, but we'll see him next week. And today, guys, we're going to get into this HBO Max Warner Brothers deal for the movies coming out in 2021, plus Wonder Woman for this year. We're also going to talk about Oscar Isaac taking on another role, Solid Snake. Yes. We're also going to talk about Tyrese and The Rock making up, man. I'm trying to get that Fast family back. We got a spoiler for Hawkeye, which is strange that they announced it like that, but we'll talk about it. And then we're going to talk about the things we saw this week, including that Mandalorian Episode 6, The Tragedy. But let's get into the big news for this week. Sanjay, my brother, I sent you guys all the text message when I found out, and I think also Brandon sent a news clipping, and Al sent something. Oh, my goodness. Warner Brothers has decided to put their 2021 film slate, 17 different movies, including the Conjuring Part 3, King Kong versus Godzilla, Space Jam, The Matrix 4, Suicide Squad, In the Heights, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is the Conjuring movie, and Dune, and a couple of other movies, including my own personal favorite as a youth, Tom and Jerry. Is this the end for movie theaters, my brother?
So I think by doing this, what the Warner Brothers CEO did is he invited all the movie theater CEOs to his office, and he just stood up and he put his balls on the table and was and started sipping whiskey or something like that, and this is that kind of move, bro. And they got nothing. They got nothing to respond to it with. Yo, it's over. Oh my God, it's over.
I mean, Al,
he didn't just put them out there. He crashed them down on the table.
Yeah. Around the type of the drum set. But Al, look, you used to work in the movie theaters when you first started working, my brother. I know this is gonna be near and dear to your heart to hear this stuff. But I kind of understand where they're coming from, which is the sales for movies are not going to be there this next couple of months, especially the next 4 to 6 months, right? We're still going to be dealing with the pandemic. Not as many people are going to have the not the cure, but the vaccine there. And to get everyone back to normal, they're estimating maybe late summer, maybe fall of next year, where everyone will be giving off almost like a herd immunity kind of thing to this coronavirus going on. But in the meantime, what does this mean for theaters? Are they going to shut back down? Or, they are giving them just the 30 days for online use of the movies. And then the next 2 months, it's the movie theaters have sole ownership of the movies to show them. And then they follow the regular, Blu-ray timeline. What's your thoughts, man?
I think we touched on this in a previous episode. Basically, this was what I think these movie companies were looking to do eventually anyway. That's why you see a lot of them getting into the streaming business right now. HBO Max, Peacock, all that. So they were looking for their own distribution means already. This just, I think, expedited a lot of their plans. You had Universal and AMC work out a deal. And I think that was the first, nail in the coffin. And now you have Warner Brothers coming with the rest, basically. So I don't think that you're going to see an elimination of movie theaters as a whole. I think I agree with what a lot of these other commentators have been saying, where it's going to become a niche market where you're going to have a lot of these mom and pop movie theaters, like the small ones, the small chains. They may stick around because they're going to have to, they may continue to survive showing old movies or, some of these more specialized movies,
indie
more
movies, things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of more of these indie movies. So where you weren't really seeing them in big theater chains anyway. So I think those theater chains may survive. They may get a resurgence because of the fact that now there's no big movie chains competing with them to take people away. But the middle movie theaters, I don't think you're going to see as many AMC theaters. You're going to still see AMC possibly. You just won't see one in every town anymore. I think what you'll see is a lot more of the IMAX size theaters in whatever theater there is, so that they can get as many people to see the big movie. And then the movies, like we were saying, that aren't expected to get as much of a draw, they'll just do straight to streaming.
Yeah, man, I hear you, man.
Yeah, and I think that's what this is.
To piggyback a little bit on what Al's saying, with a lot of the, you can have the smaller movie theaters stick around and do more of the specialty movies, more of the indie movies, more of the smaller movies that are artsy movies that wouldn't necessarily see in the big theaters. That's actually been one of the big criticisms of the big theaters or the movie theaters themselves, is that they only play big Hollywood type movies, and to get these other these other movies, that there are a lot of good movies out there, from the Cannes Film Festival, from the Sundance Film Festival. Like you really have to like go out there and either go to the festival, or you got to work hard to try to find it, right. and either find a DVD or find it streaming somewhere, or pay some obscure streaming service to get access to these movies. So this could be something. This could be a positive in that way too, where unfortunately, like Al said, a lot of the middle level theaters go out of business, unfortunately. But then you see the mom and pops, the independent movie theaters see a resurgence by doing a few more of those types of movies and getting into the niche market. So it could be interesting. It could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure that it is like the death nail in the coffin for these theaters, but I do understand like what's happening right now is just because of the pandemic. But like Al just said, these movie companies did have this idea of eventually being direct consumers instead of dealing with the middleman, which is the movie theaters, right? They'll just send it to you directly. But I don't know. I mean, like for me, I remember the last movie we saw in the theaters was, I believe, Invisible Man. I think it was one of the last movies we saw in the theaters before everything got shut down. Like, I haven't really asked you guys this. Well, let me ask you this. Sanj, I'll go to you first on this one. Since the theaters have been pretty much shut down and you've been watching movies at home, do you find watching movies at home as, I mean, I know you kind of miss seeing the movies with us all together, stuff like that, but are you enjoying the movies at home just as equally, or no?
I still do enjoy the movies, but for a movie like Invisible Man, there is something missing from the experience, not being in the theater, not having. I mean, we all have big TVs, we all have surround sound systems, but unless you're gonna wait till 11, 12 o'clock at night when you can turn out the light and it be really, really dark, to mimic the movie theater atmosphere, you're not getting the same thing, and you don't always have the time to wait till that time of day to do it. With everything going on, you do it when you watch a movie when you can. So I will say that the movies are still enjoyable, but for a movie like that, you need that immersive experience. I like to have that immersive experience, and the sheer scope and size of a movie theater gives me that immersive experience where the sound is all around you and it's cold. So I still think that, for me, I would still go to movie theaters because I would want that experience on certain movies. Like, I couldn't imagine if we were just sitting in one of our houses, it would have still been ill. But if we were sitting in one of our houses watching Endgame, or Infinity War, because those are movies that are meant to be on a bigger than life screen, right?
I hear you.
I don't know. I would still want the movie theater for certain movies.
Al, how about yourself? How you find everything just watching movies at home kind of thing?
No, I kind of agree. Like I've been watching, even when we rewatch like Star Wars, Matrix, all those movies, Endgame. I enjoy it, but I find myself remembering like you said, the experience we had when we were in the movie theater. Like certain scenes come on, and I remember everybody going, "Oh!" and like I remember that. So I think
Yeah.
that's what contributes to me enjoying it at home. But as we were just saying, like even with all this, I'm still going to see Matrix at the theater. Like I'll go in whatever suit I need to wear, face mask, you name it. But I have to hear that with surround sound. I want to hear explosions around me, bullets coming from
the movie theater popcorn, that butter product.
Like I want to hear the crowd. I want to hear everybody around me react to the scenes when they come on. When you first see Neo come back onto the screen and so forth.
Absolutely.
So
that's going to be crazy, why, by the way. That's going to be crazy.
Kid. Yeah. But that's why I say I think no matter what this pandemic expedited in terms of movie-going experiences,
right.
I don't think it's the deathbed for movie theaters. I think you're just going to get bigger theaters so that they can seat more people per showing to offset that they don't have as many showings. So I think it's still going to be there, but for the bigger movies, and hopefully like a mom and pop can still keep the smaller indie movies going, and everything doesn't just become a streaming. Because to your point, even some of these semi-action movies that aren't big movies, I still probably would have enjoyed them a lot better at a movie theater.
I gotcha. Any chance you guys think they jumped the gun a little bit by saying all their movies for 2021, all 17 are coming to home via HBO Max for the first 30 days, and then the rest is in the movie theaters? Should they have just done maybe 6 months, 7 months, or just fuck it, just all of 2021, we're done?
No, I like what they did, because the movie houses toyed around, I think, this year with the idea, because no one knew how long the pandemic was gonna last. And remember, at the beginning, it's we're gonna be quarantined for a few weeks and then everything will go back to normal. Here we are in December, and that was March, right? All right, so they didn't go fully in on it. They toyed around with the idea just to see, dip their toe in and see how it would be received and what kind of returns they would get, and the returns and the reception have been very, very positive for everybody involved. So instead of saying, all right, we'll just do 3 months or 6 months or whatever, I like the strategy of just saying go all out, do everything, and this is what we're doing for 2021. Because in their statement that they made it very clear, this is just for 2021, and we'll reevaluate 2022 at that point. So it's just this year, right now. So they're just saying, look, we don't know what's going to happen next year as far as everything going back to normal. We don't know when, but we're going to say at least this one thing, where it's at for the year. You're going to get your movie. Like if you listen back to our last few months of episodes, it's a lot of it is talking about, will this movie get pushed? Will this movie get actually come out? So now we know the movies are going to come out. So at least that part of it can go back to normal a little bit. Like we know on this date we're going to get Wonder Woman. We know on this date we're going to get, Batman or whatever other movie, right? So we at least know on that date we're going to get it. And then if it's in the theater, it's in the theater. If it's not in the theater, it's not in the theater. But at least that one part of it is going to be set in stone. And I honestly like that. It gives me some sort of, something stable to look forward to. So I like that.
Gotcha. I hear you, man. And Al, do you think this kind of moves up, like, Universal, Disney, there's a couple other companies out there? Do you think that pushes them to do the same thing, or they'll just keep it the way that they're doing and just keep pushing things back?
I think they're going to feel it out. So you may see come February, March, depending on how Wonder Woman does, how I think you said Mortal Kombat was coming out in January. Yeah. So they may let like the first movie 2 come out and see how it works with both simultaneous release in both the theater and streaming. But eventually, the same logic that made Warner Brothers do this, being we can't keep pushing movies. We got to start just releasing them. I think you're going to have to see, especially Disney, do that, because I think that's the whole hiccup between Black Widow and then the rest of the shows that they got planned to come out also. I think the events of Black Widow factor into these shows. So you can't keep pushing Black Widow, because then you keep pushing 3 or 4 other IPs as well. So eventually they may do the same thing and say, listen, we're going to do a joint release as well. And at least you're still giving the theaters the chance of getting those that are coming to the theater. So you're still going to hopefully make your sales there, but while at the same time, no longer depriving your fans of the movies they've been waiting to see.
Yeah, man, I hear you guys, man. I agree with both of you guys on those things there, because I do think that it isn't the death knell for the movie theaters. There's still going to be people like us that love going to the theaters together, watching these big movies on the big screen with the fake butter and all
It's
that
delicious.
stuff, man. Delicious. Fantastic. But yeah, man. I mean, listen, if you guys are listening or you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment or email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com and let us know what you think. If you have the opportunity to watch these movies online or go to the theaters, are you watching them online? Because if you have HBO, it's pretty much for free that you got the the HBO Max deal there. So for me, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Why pay the extra $16 when I could just watch it here? I've personally found the watching movies here, it's at home. It's cool in one sense where you can just bring whatever snacks you have and just sit down there and watch it. But there are times where I'm like,
nobody exactly. With nobody to watch it with me. So because most of the movies you can't watch with the kids because there's stuff in them that kids can't really, And then wife's like, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right.
How long is that movie? 2.5 hours? Yeah, man. So listen, that's it on the HBO Max there with the Warner Brothers. Next, we're going to get into another big thing that we kind of talk about a lot that we used to talk about before with Fast and Furious was Tyrese and Rock's little conflict there where they were talking nonsense about each other, refusing to work with each other, all because of an understandable reason. It's not too understandable. The Tyrese thing was, Fast and Furious was supposed to be a family thing, and also it kind of pushed back their Fast and Furious 9 movie. So now, The Rock and also I forgot the guy's name, Jason Statham?
Jason Statham.
Yes. They have their own Rock and Jason Statham movie there of part of the Fast and Furious line of movies there. So now it looks like they either recently talked or met up and they have buried the hatchet and they are friends again. Al, good news? No one cares, or what do you think?
I think it's good news, especially in light of the announcement that they made. What was it, a few weeks back, that they were ending it at 11 or something?
Oh, it's 11 now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's after 11 that said no more. So I'm hoping, this makes for a 10 and 11 where you have everybody back again. I mean, obviously short of Brian, but it'll make for a good final 2 movies. So I'm glad to hear this, especially where you can understand both of their points of view, but it still kind of was a little petty at the same time. So yeah, I'm glad that they just acted as men and just put it to the side and said let business be business, and let's put this and get these movies out there for our fans.
Yeah, man. How about for you, Sanj, man? You're happy the Rock there and Tyrese got it back?
Yeah, because you want everybody to be on good terms, and because you want the movies to come out as well. But my point of view on it, from Tyrese's point of view, I'm like, I don't think this was ever a real thing between the two of them, because what has Tyrese been in otherwise?
He was in that Black and Blue movie, and that's about it.
That's about it. He hasn't been in anything otherwise. So if he wants to work, if he wants that paycheck, he better get on the same page with everybody else and squash that beef. Like, I never understood him having beef in the first place. You was not the one that should have been speaking up. If there was something wrong, you should have went to Vin Diesel and let him know your grievances and have him take care of it. You understand? Right. You should have stayed in your lane. and went about it that way.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever beef with the person who's like the most popular person in movies right now.
and him complaining about bringing in The Rock and it's not a family thing. Like, let's be real. Would they be able to get to 11 movies with just them? Because it would get tired. It would get old. You got to bring in something new. You got to bring in a little fresh blood, a little different perspective, somebody to spice it up a little bit. They had to bring in a Rock. They had to bring in a Jason Statham, So I don't understand why he's complaining. Otherwise, it would have been over like 5 movies ago, and that's 5 paychecks he wouldn't have got. So like, come on, bro, like,
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm glad they put this to the side. More for the good of people right now. There's a lot of things going on in this world, and why not put some good out there and fix these things, bury the hatchet, move it on. And again, if for us as fans of these movies, we get to see them back together. They're going to have some kind of scene with the two of them eventually, with them on the screen at the same time, either making a joke and us fans knowing what's going on behind the scenes or what went on behind the scenes. So it'll be good to see them on the screen and bugging out and doing something stupid as usual. So yeah, and which reminds me also,
he was like maybe 2 minutes from getting replaced by Kevin Hart in the series, anyways. So like, and I would have been more in favor of that, putting Kevin Hart in place of him. So let's do that.
Oh my God! But on a side note, real quick, if you ever want to see The Rock look and act like a complete douchebag, Fast and Furious 5 in Brazil. Everything he does is just complete douchey. I mean, he's playing the bad guy role, but it's just like so extra.
Mean, that's what I was about to say. It was written that way. He's the foil. He's going up against them, and they're the protagonist. So yeah, he's gonna look like the idiot douchebag and everything. And of course, it makes sense that then he becomes part of the team. So
right. I wouldn't be surprised if the girl from the bad guy from the last movie, was it Charlize Theron, was the bad guy for the last. Well, I can see her flipping sides and becoming part.
Isn't she coming back though for the next movie?
Yeah, she's supposed to be.
He's still the bad guy in the next movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. Crazy, man. And in other news, Oscar Isaac steals another role.
wait, who did he steal it from?
Oh well, dude, the guy takes every great job out there. He's gonna be Moon Knight in the Marvel.
Oh, okay. I thought like somebody else was up for it, and then he was just like, he put his hat in the ring, and they were like, all right, we'll take that guy if he wants it, we'll take him.
I mean, what did happen?
We didn't know you were interested, bro. We're sorry.
That guy's in Star Wars. He's in this. He's in that, and now Oscar Isaac is gonna be playing one of my favorite video game characters, Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series. Oh my goodness, man. I'm looking forward to that because, first of all, there has to be a scene where someone goes, huh? What? So there has to be a little intercom.
Oh man.
I mean, it's gonna be most likely a spy movie, action spy movie. So it'll be interesting to see how they play this off. Because for Metal Gear Solid, it truly is a video game in every sense of the way. Like every bad guy that's in there and how you fight them and all. To see how they put that to a movie script is going to be interesting. But
I don't think it's going to be that hard to put to a movie script because like Metal Gear Solid 2 was more of a movie than a video game. So they have a little bit of experience with doing this. They're
gonna have quick time events in the movie.
right, exactly.
On your phone, press 2.
Those cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid Part 2, they were like, some of them were like 5 minutes long. You sitting there, you're like, oh, what you doing? You playing Metal Gear Solid? And I'm watching Metal Gear Solid.
Oh my goodness. So listen, fellas, what's your thoughts there? Oscar Isaac. I mean, he's a great actor. He's Apocalypse in X-Men. He's gonna be Moon Knight. He was in Star Wars. Hey, he's Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a great actor. So I'm actually excited about what that means for the movie. The fact that they didn't just bring any actor who happened to look like Solid Snake, and they actually brought somebody who can act. So it makes me think that maybe they're taking the movie a little more serious than, all right, let's just make a movie on this video game. Because this is a game that I think everybody's been calling for them to make a movie out of for a long time anyway.
Yeah, very long.
So the fact that they're finally doing it and doing it with an actor of his caliber, it's making me really look forward to this movie even more so than I was when I first heard that it was coming out.
Gotcha, man. Sanj, yourself, man. Oscar Isaac?
He's one of those actors where it's an easy casting. So he's a known commodity. We know how talented he is, and there's certain actors where you cast him, you're like, all right, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good. They're gonna be good in the movie. Actors like Idris Elba and stuff like that. Whenever they cast those guys, so that's an easy, almost lazy casting on the part of the casting director there. But I think it's going to be great with him in it.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to hearing anything about that and when that movie could possibly come out. I'm all for Oscar Isaac and those things. I've loved that character, that actor since I seen him in was it Mas Machina or Machina X?
Deus
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. Yes. Yes.
Woof. That movie was fantastic.
He was so sinister as well in that.
Yeah, he was crazy in that one.
Creepy.
Yeah, man. And then last bit of news there for this week, fellas. We got somewhat of a spoiler, but not really. It's their fault. They told us.
They just threw it out there.
They threw it out there, man. So Marvel is, of course, having their Disney Plus side where they're going to put these little series out there. And one of the big series that they're coming up with is called Hawkeye, featuring Jeremy Renner as his Hawkeye, character there. And they put out a cast listing besides, the second character, the second Hawkeye that's in the movie there that everyone knew. They put a casting list out there, which was real good. Good actors, everything. Farmiga from the Conjuring series is in there. Yeah. But they also put down that Florence Pugh is in there, which is, if you know, in the Black Widow movie, Florence Pugh is the sister, quote unquote sister of the Black Widow in that movie. So kind of like giving us like a hint that one, for sure, she's continuing from there, which, of course, everyone should kind of know since she's in the movie. And Marvel people signed like 5 freaking picture movie deals there. But at the same time, I wanted to know if you guys took it as like they shouldn't have let us know, or you kind of figured it anyway. What about you, Sanj? What do you think about let us know Florence Pugh is in this Hawkeye series there?
I think it's okay because the Black Widow movie, the big question is not whether her sister survives, it's whether, it's how is she there? That's the big mystery. What's the story of Black Widow itself? Is this before? Is this after? Did she come back? What are we doing there? The real story wasn't her, so I'm okay with it. That's fine.
How about you, Al? What's your thoughts on that, man?
Actually, at first I was okay with it, but then as we were talking about the delays, I was thinking, actually, I would have rather they held her name back. Because now it's making it obvious why Black Widow is being delayed, is making it obvious why all these other shows, especially Hawkeye, is being delayed because Black Widow clearly does affect these shows, the plot line, because now they haven't announced whether she's in any of the other shows, but if she's definitely in this one, then there's some of the events from Black Widow that factor into this show. And now we know that because she's been cast into the show. So I would have rather not know that she's in there because now we also know her character survives because her character wasn't in Endgame, and Black Widow takes place between Infinity War and Endgame. So now, now we know she lives. So now there's no whatever scene that may look like she's about to die or she, whatever explosion may have happened. Oh no, she lives because she's in. Now we know
she's in Hawkeye though.
Yeah. So I kind of would have rather they let her go until after Black Widow aired and then say, okay, you know what? Who else was cast? Pugh. Yeah, she's going to be in Hawkeye.
Yeah, I kind of feel you on that one too, man. I mean, there's certain things you can't, you're going to find out casting for movies and stuff like that. And especially people like us who are into these movies, we look for information. We look for the knowledge of
any little detail we comb over and find, the littlest
We'll take it, man.
Yeah.
So, we're going to find that out. For the average movie person, they may not know. They'll be like, oh, but we'll be like, yeah. Hawkeye though, right? Like, we ruin it. Yeah, man, but listen, that's the news for this week, man. And again, if you guys are listening out there, let us know what you think. Tell us if you think, if you agree with us on any of those topics there for the news, or if you're on YouTube watching the videos, just a little comment below and let us know what you thought about the news section there, and we'll read them on the next podcast there for us there. Then we'll get into another topic that we usually do, which is the movies and the things that we've seen this week. And we usually go over the movies or TV shows or anything like that that's out there that's in, pop culture that we all talk about and stuff. So wanted to see what you guys got a chance to watch this week. If you got to watch some movies or a great show or anything like that you could recommend to people. Al, what's something that you watched this week?
A movie we watched this week it's a Korean film on Netflix called The Call.
The Call.
Okay. It's basically a girl receives a phone call, but it's from another girl 21 years in the past. And yeah, and the plot, it's an interesting plot. I don't want to give much away because it'll give a lot away in terms of what happens in the movie. But it's definitely a movie to watch to see how conversations between two people in different times can affect each other, and how knowing the past, you can try to influence the person in the past, but the person in the past knowing they can affect your present.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamic seeing them go off each other. Yeah, so definitely watch the movie. Just be prepared. It's Korean movie, but it's dubbed in English. So there's, you got, as long as you can deal with the fact that the words don't match the mouth,
right.
which you easily will, because like I said, it's a weird movie. So be prepared for that too. But it's good. It is definitely interesting watching what happens. It's scary seeing what people are capable of doing. So, definitely watch it. It's on Netflix, The Call.
Wow, man, that sounds good, man. How about you, Sanj? You got to catch anything else?
I haven't watched it. I didn't watch any movies this week, but I have been watching The Crown on Netflix, which is about Queen Elizabeth, the current Queen Elizabeth, and her family. Meaning her relationship with Prince Philip, and then it moves into her relationship with her children and her sisters and everything. And the current season 4, which I just finished up today, as a matter of fact, focused on the relationship between Charles and Diana.
Is it like documentary style, or like they're
no? It's dramatic. It's a drama. And it's a historical drama. I mean, they do take creative license as well with some of.
I was just gonna say, do they state that it's fictional? Because I was reading today that they're fighting having to put a fiction label on their intro.
They don't state that it's fictional currently.
Oh, wow.
So what they do, they'll portray things. And then for the ones that have more for the episodes that have more historical significance, they'll actually post real photos at the end of it and give real background, or give the conclusion of it, like, all right, when these two people eventually did this and that and the other. So everything. So of course it's one of those series that you have your computer open next to it, so as things are happening, you're like going down the rabbit hole of Google, like looking up stuff. And I was talking so I have a couple of friends that are British, and either grew up in parts of England or spent parts of their not England, I'm sorry, United Kingdom. That's very important. England is different than the United Kingdom, so they're not from England. They're from other parts of the United Kingdom. And so I was texting with them about stuff and going down the rabbit hole. And the conclusion that I've come to is that the Queen might be a monster.
Oh.
Like, you just see some of the ways that people within a family, right, treat each other because they're royals, and they're supposed to live by these certain rules and whatnot. And you're just like, oh my God, that, like, it's crazy.
Right.
Some of it makes you really cringe, and you wonder if it was this bad, And then the other side of it is just like, you really sit there thinking, like, what is the purpose of these people? Like, they really serve no purpose.
Right, because they still get run by the laws are made by the I forgot what they're called over there. It's
Parliament.
Not like
the Parliament.
Yeah, Parliament. Yeah. They get her blessing. But
so in the I mean, it's one of those things where for a law to become law in the United Kingdom, Parliament, of course, has to pass the law. The Prime Minister has to sign off on it, and the Queen has to sign off on it too. That's what's called royal assent. It can't become a law without her signature or her royal assent. But she never says no.
Right.
So you know what I mean? It's like. And she never states, she's not allowed to state an opinion, like, politically or publicly, or have any opinions on anything, because it can be seen as like interfering in the operations of government. I'm like, so I'm sitting there thinking, like, what purpose do these people serve?
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. But at the same time, you can't tear yourself away from it. Watching it, it's crazy. Well, whatever.
I hear you, man.
I recommend it.
Sanj recommends it. All right, cool, man. And then for myself, man, I actually got to watch Super Intelligence on HBO Max there. It came out last Friday, I believe it was, and I got to watch it this week. And I gotta say, man, I found the movie very, very freaking cute and funny towards the end, which is weird because the beginning of the movie was a little rough. But then as it got played on, I would say once they introduced the romance aspect of the movie, it got more interesting. It got a little more funnier. And then it just from there, it kind of just was like, okay, now I get it. Now I get the rhythm of the movie and where it's going kind of thing. And I actually ended up enjoying the movie. And I would tell people Super Intelligence, I wouldn't rush to see it, but, give it a shot, man. Especially nowadays, there's not much to watch that's out there that's new. It's not bad. I enjoyed it. I think it was a great movie there. So, yeah, I won't rush to go see it, but check it out if you have a moment to go see it. I also got to watch Bill and Ted Face the Music. I've been holding on to that movie for about a good month to watch it, and I should have been holding on to it a little bit longer. I will tell you guys, I do not recommend this movie. That movie to me is a do not rush to see this one. I mean, I can't believe I freaking, because what I normally do is if it's a part 3 of a movie and I don't remember part 1 and 2, I watch part 1 and part 2 and then go into part 3. God damn. Part 1 was okay. Part 2 was a little bit boring and weak. Part 3 was even worse to me. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, as far as and the reason was because I figured it's been so long since they had a Bill and Ted movie. If they're gonna make it, it's because they came up with this great concept. It's a fantastic movie. It's great writing and whatever the case may be, man. No, man. I did not like it. I didn't laugh a lot. I just watched it because it was on, man. And I do not recommend Bill and Ted Face the Music, man. Oh, so bad. So bad. Al, you get to watch anything else, my brother?
Nah, I saw Super Intelligence as well, but other than that, there was a movie on Netflix called I just drew a blank on it. The Call and Don't Listen. Yeah. That was another one. That one is a Spanish dub movie. I don't know. We must have been on some foreign kick this weekend that I didn't realize. But it's spoken in English, but the actors are speaking in Spanish.
That's funny. A Spanish guy calling a Spanish movie foreign.
Well, no, because it's filmed in Spain.
No. I'm just being stupid.
Yeah, no,
bro.
it was filmed and all the cast and everything were from Spain and everything, but. This movie is scary. Like if you like horror movies, if you like being, jump scares and so forth, definitely watch this movie.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It's not as great as Conjuring. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely worth a watch if you're into horror movies. Don't Listen.
Oh wow. It was funny, man. I watched a foreign language horror movie. And it was supposed to be one of the most scariest horror movies ever, man. It was pretty terrifying. And I forgot the name of it. I can't think of it right now. It was like either Stephanie or Stefania or something. It was like a name of a person.
Was it the Korean movie that came out recently?
No. It was in Spanish.
Oh. Okay.
And it was girls.
Veronica?
Veronica, yes.
I think that's a yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was pretty scary. That was pretty scary. And I ended up watching the whole thing. And again, I think it was from Spain because some of the Spanish I did understand, but some of it I didn't get too much. But it was pretty interesting. So that's another one, Veronica, and that one, pretty good. Yeah. But real quick, Al, what'd you think of the Super Intelligence there?
I thought it was a cool movie. I like McCarthy. I like her as an actress. Yeah. Okay. So all the scenes that had her in it, I enjoyed. I didn't like her love interest. I forget his character's name.
Right.
I just felt like he was too over the top with his character. I like the actor. I think the actor did a great job. The
actor suffered from some bad writing.
No, I think the character did. The actor did a great job. doing the character. I just didn't like the character, the way they had him as a person being. He would have annoyed the hell out of me if I knew that person in real life. And I think that's why I never got into it with his character.
Right.
I thought it was an interesting concept for the movie, the super intelligence that picks her and follows her and helps her.
Mhm.
I guess I couldn't get on board with why he was helping her. And then the conclusion at the end, I think he could have found it on his own.
Right.
So that being the case, it kind of took me out of the movie.
Right.
But it was the interaction between the two of them was cool.
Right.
When especially the scene at the baseball game. That was funny, but yeah, it's worth a watch if you got nothing else and you like her as an actress. Definitely watch it. It'll pass the time.
Gotcha, man. And then finally, we're gonna talk about the Mandalorian season 2, episode 6, the tragedy. 30 minutes of freaking bliss.
Oh yeah, it was quick. Yeah.
Oh my God. So listen, guys, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, we're going to go into spoilers because a 30-minute show, you already hear the excitement we had just to talk about this. You guys got to just watch this and then come back to us and hear what we got to say about this. So we're going to go into spoiler territory. There's no way we could do no spoilers. Get up out of here. Go watch it and come back. We're going right in right now. Oh my goodness. And it's funny because I've been talking about this season, and it sounds like I don't like it, right? My wife listens to me talk in the back sometimes, and she's just like, "Doesn't sound like you like that show." I'm like, "No, I like it. It's great, it's fantastic." It's just they do the same thing every episode. He goes somewhere, has to help, or gets turned on, and then he has to go again and find somebody else, find somebody else, or do something else. Right? Every episode, it's like a freaking video game, right? So. This episode, I didn't expect them to do what they did because usually what they do is they skip episodes. So like something happens in this episode, 2 episodes from now, they'll deal with it, right? Oh, man. No, they did not. This episode went straight to it. Let's go to this, Jedi, for spiritual facility or whatever it is that they were going to. And man, what a episode. Sanj, what did you think of the tragedy?
It was like I thought it was better than I think maybe the last 4 or 5 Star Wars movies.
That 30 minutes better. I agree.
No, I'm serious. It was like I found it very exciting because one, it was really cute how it started out. With them in the ship, and they were playing around with the little ball he keeps stealing from him. And then you could see they're really developing like a good relationship. And I think it's like the cutest thing. Now that he knows his name, Grogu, every time he says his name, Grogu, he's like, It's like the cutest thing, right? So and then they go down to the planet and he can't figure it out, and he looks around and then he looks back, all of a sudden it's working. And he keeps exactly right. In his yoga pose, and then the action starts, and of course, we love the action. Stormtroopers still can't fight for shit, as expected. But then those dark stormtroopers. Oh my gosh, they were so menacing. And then I like the Boba Fett. Coming back in the story as well. Absolutely. And you're getting more backstory on Boba Fett and who he is and being reintroduced to the Star Wars world. So it was just so quick though. That was the only thing, and just like that, it was over.
Right.
Right after they took the kid, it was just over.
What, Al, real quick before we go into the actual episode and everything, what do you find was the tragedy? The ship being destroyed, or the taking of Grogu?
Crazy. Well, I think the tragedy was supposed to be him being taken, but I think he's still alive. So I think the actual tragedy was Razor Crest being destroyed.
Crazy,
right? That's his home, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that was everything to him. Yeah, so now he's got to trust and rely on Boba Fett to get him around.
Hey, Sanj, they're not fixing that.
Nope.
That shit got smithereens.
It got exploded.
But Al, man, I mean, what was your thought about them arriving to Tython? The whole thing about him reaching out to a Jedi. Who do you think he was reaching out to? What do you think of the episode also?
Surprisingly, like when the credits came up, I was like, wait, that's it?
Yeah.
But then when you think of everything that happened in the episode, they actually got a lot done in just 30 minutes. Like they introduced Boba Fett. They gave you basically the premise of what his show would be like in 10 minutes. They showed how bad he was fighting. I mean, just between the rifle and that stick, he was, destroying stormtroopers with ease.
He's a much better fighter than Mandalorian.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
He got his armor, they showed his history and everything. They got him. So they got a lot done in 30 minutes. Like
a show about Boba Fett wouldn't last too long because he's so damn efficient. But
yeah, it made me wonder what his show would be about. Like if he, once he satisfies this debt to Mando, what is it going to be about? Like what's his objective? And that might be they may show that in regards to the next 2 episodes. But they really set up these next 2 episodes.
Yeah, man, so big time.
I think this one was short because the next 2 are going to be so full with a lot of action and a lot of detail. So it definitely made me want to see these next 2 episodes. Yeah.
How about that saber?
Oh, it's always good to see that thing. Oh, yeah. Show off. Moff.
You know what I was funny? I never realized that the actor from that what was it, the Christmas Story with the BB rifle where they kept telling him that you'll put your eye out.
Yeah.
He's Jon Favreau's like best friend in real life. And I think that's what that line. Yeah, and I think that's what that line for. You remember when he shows Boba Fett the sword and he goes, "No, you'll put your eye out with that." I think it was
he showed Grogu. He was showing in the tail there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like one of the first things I thought was that somebody was going to show up, but then they left the planet, and I'm like, so who's going to get that message? Or maybe the person who gets that message is going to start looking for Grogu now. So hopefully we'll see what happens with that. As far as the fighting and the action in that scene was insane, and Boba Fett looked how I would look in his old uniform as well. He couldn't put the pants on. He just the freaking the bullets were hanging under his gut. I was like, oh, Boba. Me and Boba gotta work out.
Hit the gym tomorrow.
Yeah, man. It was so funny. See, I was like, he ain't got the pants on. He can't put the pants on. He just put the top on. One of the most craziest and cool shit that I've ever seen though was him taking out the 2 ships, and then Mando goes, "Great shot." He's like, "I got the wrong one.
I was aiming for the other one."
Aiming for the other one. Hilarious, man. The episode was amazing. What you can accomplish in 30 minutes, and Sanj said it right there, man. Probably better than some of the movies that they put out recently. I personally find them better than the last 2 movies. Force Awakens was pretty awesome, but Jesus, those last 2 Star Wars movies, man.
Yeah.
But then, what I wanted to ask you guys is your opinion on this thing here. Seeing Grogu in the jail cell, pretty much just manhandling those 2 stormtroopers, choking them, throwing them around. Just my question for you both, and Sanj, you hit me off first on this one. Is there any chance you think Grogu goes to the dark side?
There's always a chance that a Jedi will go to the dark side. That's why they have such strict rules of conduct. Mm-hmm. And they don't tap into certain parts of the Force even, right. Because the pull of the dark side, it seems to me like it's always there. Like the pull of the dark side is always there, like sort of like an addiction kind of thing. So whether you're the best Jedi or not, or the most, what's the word for it? Being one of the good guys, right? It seems like that possibility is always there. So they have to be very, very careful. So yeah, it is possible that Grogu goes to the dark side, because what they're setting up here is how the First Republic or the First Order came to be.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're looking for the way to, if those cloning tanks are what we think it is, they're looking for a way to bring Snoke to life. So how do they end up doing it? There's got to be something that they do. I don't want to think of Grogu on the dark side,
Right.
But it's always the thing I like about the story is that that's always there, and it could always go that way. So are we gonna go there?
Gotcha, man. How about you, Al, man? What's your thoughts on Grogu and what's happening with him? Do you think he gets saved by a Jedi, or these little hints of this is not the first time he's choked people? I remember him choking the marshal that one time she was on the ship, and he just went, he had to be told, chill,
Yeah. Well, when it goes back to what Ahsoka saw when she was talking to him, where she said, "I sense a lot of fear in you," and she was afraid of what that can turn into because she saw it before when she was with Anakin.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that, and it was very subtle because it wasn't like he choked them, and then killed them. He choked them, kind of like what Luke did in Return of the Jedi when he went into Jabba's palace. Like he choked them enough to get them out the way, and then threw them against the wall, and he was just fighting them around out of like self-defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle him. Is that why, like, does he ultimately get rescued, and that's why they get enough sample from him to get Snoke almost there? But that's why Snoke has so much disformation, because they weren't able to complete him, so to speak. So it's making me wonder if they're setting up Snoke and the development of Snoke and why he looks the way he does.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the good things about this is that they leave you with all these different options, right? I keep feeling like they're hinting at a bunch of different things. They're hinting at him being possibly turning bad because we don't see him in the future. We don't see him or know of anything of Grogu besides what we see in the show. So does he make it even after this show or this season and stuff like that? Because they're showing us Snoke is possibly made from here. So it definitely keeps us interested in what's going to happen next, what's happening in his story, what's happening with the Mandalorian as well. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. I first of all, I love Bill Burr. I think he's freaking hysterical as a regular comedian. So let alone we're going to go get him now from the jail that they put him in and then help him, help to find where Grogu is and see what happens from there. Especially with, the season coming to an end, it's only going to get bigger. And the story's just going to get bigger as well, as far as where it's going to go or what's it planning to do. Show us what's going to go for season 3, and God knows, man. So looking forward to next week's episode to see how they leave us and where it goes after that one. So should be amazing, man. So listen, that's going to be the podcast for this week. I myself am going to get ready to go watch Freaky tonight. I'm going to watch it on on demand. It's on demand, so I'm going to give it a shot tonight and see if I can watch it. Yeah, that's the Blumhouse movie with who's the guy that we say always plays the same person all the time?
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, yes. Vince Vaughn takes over the body of a teenage girl who he was trying to kill. Somehow they do a switch, and that was in the theaters maybe about a month ago. So now they're putting it on video on demand for us to now purchase to see it at home. So I'm going to watch that tonight since I finished all my schoolwork this week. So I'm going to let you guys know what I think of Freaky next week. And listen, again, we always appreciate the listeners and the subscribers on there. If you're not subscribed to the channel, little button right there, just subscribe. And every week we do this. We do a podcast every week talking about movies, movie news, and just putting movies into a little bit of everything in our lives. So, feel free to subscribe, or if you're listening on your podcast app, hit that little plus and you'll get our podcast every week coming to your phones or your computers there. So listen, coming out of Long Island, New York, this is Hav, and with us, we got my boy Sanj.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe.
We got my man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes, and myself, Hav, again, we thank you for listening and subscribing and giving us a check out there. We'll see you on the next episode. Till next time.